Hi guys, it's Robin. I wanted to give an update on how I've been doing since I failed med-surg 5. First, I wanted to thank you all so very much for your... Sorry, hold on. I'm down in the basement. That always happens when someone flushes a toilet. Overshare. Anyway, the love and support you all have given me has been above and beyond anything that's ever happened to me. So thank you so much. And I'm just gonna go from, you heard from me about a month ago, well, over a month ago, and the first 2 weeks after I made that video, life sucked, and I cried and I couldn't sleep, and I was trying to be in a better mood for my kids. It was getting to be the holiday season. Rachel had come home for the winter break like a week, or not even a week later, like 4 or 5 days later, and she gave me lots of support. But it was just a really rough time, and I kept saying, you know, the holidays are coming up, you know, I had to do Christmas shopping because I was focused on finals. I hadn't done anything for Christmas, and I'm like, I've got to be good for my kids and my family, you know. And so I try not to think about school, but easier said than done. I mean, I was in the denial, anger period for quite a while. And I would even have good days to where I'm like, you know what, I'm doing okay, I'm getting better, I'm going over that hump. And then a couple days later, I was back to where I was. It was the oddest thing ever. I've never been through that big of a emotional roller coaster before. Like I said, I wasn't sleeping. All I would do is dream of school and class and what could I have done different, and you know, I wonder where I went wrong on my exam, and because we're not allowed to see our exams. And so anyway, Christmas time, we went up to my, well, about a week, not even a week, a couple days before Christmas. My son has wrestling. He's a wrestler and baseball player and all that, but it's wrestling season. They had practice right up until Christmas Eve, and then he had to be back like a couple days after Christmas. Actually, it was supposed to be the day after Christmas, but we took one extra day, and I'm like, he's going to have to deal. You know, I know the coach is probably going to be mad, but, you know, he's just going to have to deal. Sorry, I've been trying to get over this cold. That's another thing. I got sick like right after school was done. And if you hear my videos, I go every once in a while, and I don't realize I do it until I do my voiceovers and I hear myself talking back, and I'm sorry about that. It's finally starting to go away, but nose is still dripping. So, what was I saying? Yeah, Christmas was something I had to kind of force on a happy face and a smile, and, you know, when you see relatives that haven't quite heard yet, and they're like, oh, how was, you know, and you're like, didn't make it, you know, didn't graduate. But my aunt and uncle, before we went up to my in-laws for Christmas, my aunt and uncle still came to see me and celebrate me and what I've accomplished, they said. And that was a great visit. I was so happy to see them. And it meant a lot. But, so I started school, oh wait, let me go. Okay, so we had a great time with them for about a week, and we went out and did things around Dover, and we had a couple days crafting down here, which was awesome. And I know she had a great time, and she bought some goodies, and I sent them home. I shipped them home for her, so she wouldn't have to take them on the plane. But anyway, I had a great time. And then, so we went up to my in-laws, and it was just kind of a forceful thing, but I stayed busy. You know, I did the cooking, which I love to do, and I do every year. So, we did that, had family over, and, the kids surprised me with gifts. My husband surprised me with one. We weren't going to do gifts for each other this year because after I graduated, this next 8 weeks, we were going to take a weekend trip, which we're still going to try and do, but I love to cook. So he got me a wonderful, huge oval 15-inch cast iron pan, and I just love it to pieces. And so he surprised me with that. But came back home, and I had a few weeks. Rachel's new boyfriend came down for a visit, so that was nice too, and he's a great kid, love him to pieces. And so we had some chill days at home and ended up going out and doing some things. But I got back to school. It was a mix match kind of mess with who our instructor was going to be. There are three main med-surg instructors, one new instructor coming on board. She was supposed to be our instructor, but she had some family things she's taking care of right now, so prayers for her and her family. And so I have the night and weekend instructor for the RN program for med-surg 5. She's so smart, but I'm just like, wow, there's some differences in what she teaches and goes in depth in, and what my prior med-surg teacher taught and went in depth in. And I'm really kind of glad I had that base with the first teacher, because this one, you know, she's big on, you've had it before, you need to bring it forward, even though it could have been from 2.5 years ago. She'll touch a little bit if you have a question, but she's not going to reteach anything. So I'm really, really glad I have that foundation and base, but I can't help but look around the class sometimes and wonder how lost everybody is. But I remember the looks on their faces, you know, to kind of the first day in class, she starts going and she's talking, and they're like, you know, we've all had that look, like, and I'm like, I've got this. Okay, I remember. So what have I been doing different? We've been in class now, this is our 3rd week. And with my prior instructor, she divided cardiac into 2 exams, because it's everything from the blood to the, you know, what you're hearing where, to the meds, to the strips, to the interpreting, to the priorities, to the cardiomyopathy and pericarditis and endocarditis and all this cardiac tamponade and corapulmonate, all this stuff, you know. She didn't divide it. It was all in one, and her exams are timed, where the others weren't. So that was difficult for me. We had our first cardiac exam this last Monday, and I didn't do as great as I wanted to. However, let's just say I got 20 points higher than I did last semester. So, which was awesome. Only 2 people passed this last Monday, and that's just the par for the course. We've heard it. No one passes her cardiac exams, or pretty much most of them, but she's, you know, she's one to make, well, they all are, to make you good RNs. So I just have to find what's broken and fix it. So what I did was, before class started, when I started, like, Robin, you've got to pick yourself up, dust this crap off, and you've got to move forward. You've got to change your mindset, because it's coming. And, you know, you can wallow still, but you have to just, it doesn't change the fact you've got to get your crap together and move forward. So what I did was, I was honest with myself, and I got a piece of paper out, and I had 3 columns on the piece of paper. Okay, so the first column, I put things down that I felt very comfortable with. Things I was pretty good, not pretty good, really good at, you know. I wrote down, I started with the cardiac issue because I know that that's what we were starting with. But then after that, I went into the other systems, neuro and respiratory and all that. And you know, it's pretty full. But I went, the first column was what I'm very comfortable with, what I can recite back, what I could teach to somebody, you know, a classmate, help them out with. The middle column was things I'm, you know, I pretty decent at. And if I had a few minutes, I could work my way through something, you know. Do I know it inside and out like I do the first column? No, but I don't suck at it either. The third column are things I think I suck at. Not suck at, but that I really need to. And when I was writing these things down, the third column I realized were things when I was learning the full picture the first time. I kind of picked my battles as to what to read and what to really focus my attention on. And the things I had in my third column were things I kind of put on the back burner. I went over it real quick, but I didn't really embed it in my head. And you need all of the pieces. So I really looked at what I was weak at, and I started there. I started focusing in on doing doing the recon, you know, doing the background of it. I pulled my A&P book back out and I started from the very beginning. I'm talking metabolic and respiratory alkalosis and acidosis. I'm talking knowing my labs inside and out, which I knew most of it, but you know, the odd ones you don't see very often, phosphorus and anion gap and all that stuff, you know, the potassium, sodium, mag, all that kind of stuff I know inside and out. I mean, that wasn't a problem. It was the odd stuff, but you see it. And so I really wanted to get better with that. So labs, meds, cardiac meds, there's so many different things. And to be honest, the first time around in med-surg 5, I knew basics, you know, I could work my way around it. They were kind of in that middle column, but I made them my best friend this time, and I really just got to know them. I did index cards, and I talked out loud. I came down here to my craft room, and I talked out loud like I was teaching somebody about the meds. And then I would get a strip, or not a strip, but I would look at, you know, different atrial or ventricular dysrhythmias or problems that you would see on a cardiac strip, because we had to read those. Those I struggled with a lot the first time, the last 8 weeks, or, you know, last semester in the fall. And it was just a really hard concept for me to get, but I just kind of tackled it, and I watched YouTube videos, and I just went back to my notes, and I really retaught myself, and I read my books, and now I feel really comfortable. So not only did I do that once I got comfortable with the strips, then I started saying, okay, what is this strip? What am I going to do for him? And you want to go least invasive to most invasive. So, you know, what meds are we going to start with? What could cause this dysrhythmia? What could cause this problem? Is it a find it and fix it, like dehydration or pain or, you know, sepsis, infection, something like that, that we can find it and the rhythm will fix itself with the antibiotics or the pain meds or whatever? Or is this something more serious? What could develop if it doesn't get help? And I just went from there. And taking this exam, it was a hard exam. It was very fair, but it was really hard, kick you in your gut hard. So although I didn't get the grade I wanted to, I did a heck of a lot better than I did the first time around, and I really have it here. And what I really liked was, today's Wednesday, yesterday was Tuesday, we had the exam on Monday. So Tuesday we came in, and the class was pretty devastating because, like I said, only 2 people passed, and one of the people that passed has had this particular instructor 3 times, you know, in 3 different classes, so she kind of knows how she works, but, you know, she's working really hard, and she's like me, she needs to make this happen or we're done for 2 years. And she's becoming a good friend of mine, so I'm very happy and proud for her. But everybody was beating themselves up, as we do. And so I'm trying to keep the class positive. I'm trying to say, listen, our final 60%, for this class we only get 4 exams and a final, that's it. There's nothing else, no other cushion to go towards our grade. And there's 2 exams where my instructor last time split them up. My instructor last time, we had 6 exams in the final plus some quizzes. This one is just 4. So there's 2 exams. Cardiac, she put the 2 together, so we had that, and then she's combining 2 other exams in one again. So 4 exams, a final. So I'm just trying to keep everybody focused, like, listen. The final 60%. These exams, as devastating as they can make you feel, and as insignificant as they can make you feel, are 10%. It's all about the final. Learn from where you went wrong, from your exams, and focus on the final. So what we did yesterday was, she had us get in groups of 3 and 4. She gave us 1 exam each, and she wanted us with different people. People we normally don't study with, or people we normally don't really hang out with, because you tend to kind of like get in the same vibe of things. So I was with 3 other girls, obviously I've never been with because I'm new to that class. I know them, but I don't hang out with them or anything. So we were in a group, and we went 1 question at a time, and we talked it out, why we would cross something out right away, and it was really awesome, because hearing where they were coming from, or maybe they remembered something I didn't, or vice versa, or I brought forward something that my previous instructor taught us to remember something that this one did not, really seemed to help them, and it really helped me. And there were a few where we each got something different, or we were just split, and we can understand, you know, there's always 2 answers that just are awesome, but which one's the most? awesome, you know. So there were times we were just split and we're like, okay, well, we'll come back to this one because we were going to go over it as a whole class again with our instructor once we were done in groups. And that was amazing. Okay, you have to read every single word in the question, in the stem, you know, the scenario, in the stem of what they're actually asking you, and in every word in every option that you can choose from, because one word can throw everything off. And I did make a dumb mistake. For example, it was a question about cardioversion. What do you do before the procedure? And it was a select all apply. I'm like, got it. You know, boom, 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 boom. Duh. The last one I chose was something you do after the procedure. And I read before, but it didn't, that wasn't something that clicked. I was focused on the procedure. I was focused on, you know, thinking, okay, what do we want? We want suction at the bed. We want, you know, to sedate them. We want all that. Meh. So bad on me. But going through and realizing things like that, more than likely you're not going to do it again. And then she brought up, our instructor, when we were going together or going through it as a group, she would bring things up like we had 4 choices to choose from on this one thing. She's like, the middle 2 gave information on strip. It just gave the PR intervals, the QRST segments and all that. And you figured out they both were normal sinus rhythm. Different numbers, but they were both normal sinus with different heart rates or whatever, but they were within both. They both were within normal limits. So she's like, they're both normal sinus within normal limits. How do you choose between the 2? You don't. Cross them off. It's between the other 2. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So anyway, lots of little tricks and tips like that. Also, my old instructor nailed it into my head. Anytime you're looking at a blood pressure, figure out the MAP, the mean arterial pressure. That's what MAP stands for. And what you do is, to get that, you take the diastolic, the bottom number, multiply that by 2. Okay? Then you take that answer and you add the top number or the systolic number to that. Okay? Now you have another total, and you take that total and divide it by 3. That is your MAP, your mean arterial mean arterial pressure, the pressure in your arteries. Normal is, for our school, 70 to 110. Okay, so if your MAP, if they're giving you a blood pressure, and a lot of people can be like, oh, that's good, or but if it gives you more than one, you take the one MAP, take the other, and you can see if is it going up for good or worse, or down for worse, or vice versa, or what. Do the MAP on every single blood pressure they give you. I write it out to the side. MAP is duh. And if it's less than 70 or more than 110, that's a problem. Okay. Also, again, go with your ABCs. It was a prioritization scenario. Who are you going to see first? And they give you like 5 different patients. And one had to do with pneumo and, you know, a young kid and was in a car accident. And then there was everybody you need to see. Everybody was kind of an emergency. But then there was an 84-year-old man with cardiac issues and shortness of breath and pale. So you're thinking, oh, MI, he trumps. ABCs, airway, breathing, circulation. MIs are circulation. And he's older, so he has more collaterals too. So, oh man, it's really hard. In Utopia Hospital, you have more than one team, so everybody could be taken care of at the same time. But you have to prioritize. So things like that. Don't forget your ABCs. Go through things like that. So it was really super, super, super helpful to go through that, not only with the group, and hear where other people are coming from, and you learn things from your classmates. There was a girl, Steph, she's a tech in an ER, and so she kind of told us some information of what she knows. But here's the thing, also, don't get confused. If you do work in a hospital, don't bring that into the classroom. Don't test on what you do right now. Test on what's given to you in your book and your PowerPoints and from your teacher, because that's what you're being tested on, not real world, how things are right now. So don't make that mistake too, okay? So I took all that information and I came home and I went through my troubled areas on my piece of paper, even my good parts I felt comfortable on, and I just wrote little notes of what I learned from that exam. And so now I have that clear in my head. Things that my first instructor didn't really touch on, I didn't do so well. Like, she didn't teach us third-degree blocks, but this one kind of breezed through a third-degree block, and there were some things on there, so I know I need to, for the final, I really need to dig in and brush in on my third-degree blocks, second-degree, things like that. So, okay. Anyway, the way I feel now is I'm okay. I'm in the part of I've accepted that I have to do this again, nothing I can do about it, but do it again, stay positive. I spoke with my prior instructor, you know, kind of cleared air and talked about things, and, you know, she's like, you know, identify where you struggle with, kind of what I did with the list, and just really not focus on that, but really tune that up and bring that up to par so you don't really have a weak area where everything's just kind of even. And because with labs and with interpreting things, if you're not really strong on that, or the meds especially, you can't figure out other parts of the scenario. You're going to have to blindly pick, and you don't want to set yourself up for that. And so I did do a lot better with meds. I need to get better with the, as far as cardiac meds, with the selective and non-selective. I realized with this test, I really need to tune in more so on those, which ones are which. So I'm going to do that for the final and really get that down. But as far as studying, what am I doing different? I am putting in decent time, but I am also taking a day for myself. I will wake up early, maybe on the weekend, and study for a few hours, and then the rest of the day is my husband's or my kids, or we do errands or grocery shopping or something. I'm really trying to do better with meals, so I'm watching a lot on YouTube on crock pot meals and freezer meals. So I really want to dedicate maybe an afternoon to grocery shopping and dividing, and then the next day to prepping and cooking and freezing. You know, just one full day of just cooking and getting things in the freezer bagged up, ready. So all I have to do is take out a bag the night before, let it thaw out, dump it in the crock pot, go to school, come back, make up a side, and we're good. And that's going to develop and take some time, but I'm also going to post some meals and things like that on this channel, because I do get a lot from you guys, my nursing student followers, on the home life stuff. You know, how do you do your laundry? How do you get all that done? How do you shop? What kind of meals do you make? We're tired. I'm tired. We have 2 extra children living with us right now, 2 grown boys. So I have to plan and cook and make even more. And it's really hard because sometimes, you know, you don't know really yet what they like and what they don't like. So I'm trying to make a broad variety. I'm just saying, you know, give me some ideas of what you guys like. I'm trying to make everybody happy. And to end, my instructor, when I talked with her last week, the one I had the last 8 weeks, she said, you need to be completely selfish this 6 weeks. Because she's like, what's going on in you? You know, what's going on? So I broke it down for her, and she's looking at me like, you're helping everybody but yourself. And I'm like, I'm trying to balance. And she's like, no, you're helping everybody but yourself. So, yeah, so I'm going to be as selfish as I can. I'm still a mother. I'm still a wife. I'm still a daughter. But I'm definitely doing more for myself. And that includes, she said, chilling out and doing something I enjoy. So I'm just trying to get very organized. I feel the more, and my organization skills slacked the last 2 semesters, I have to say. And I'm getting organized again, and I just feel like I can run smoother. Like I have more time to study when I want to study, or I have more time to cook or prepare when it's that time, because I'm more organized. And to be honest, that took me a week or 2 to get that way. I let that slip and slide. So if you're new in your journey, or even if you're halfway through or towards the end, just take a couple days, get your notes organized, get your life organized, get your kitchen organized, get a grocery list organized, whatever. I'm not buying blindly now. I'm buying, you know, I'm making my meal plans up. I'm buying what I need, and I'm buying some extras for lunches, snacks, breakfast for the kids. But as far as meals, I'm really planning those. And so maybe that extra money can go to gas, or go to, instead of just buying stuff and having way too much of something and not enough of another, and having to go back out and get something to make a meal. So plan your meals. And in the long run, you think you spend more, and you might initially, but when you see, I plan out a meal for, you know, 2 weeks, because I go grocery shopping every 2 weeks, come to find out, it feeds us longer than that. because sometimes not everything gets eaten up one night. You have the next night. And yeah, but I just have more meals than just a bunch of random mismatched stuff that doesn't really make anything. So that has really been helpful, just getting reorganized, getting my head in the right place, getting enough sleep. I'm sleeping, finally I'm sleeping. After my classes are Monday, Tuesdays, clinicals are Wednesday, Thursdays. That part I do not have to repeat because I passed that the first time. It's just theory I did not pass. So after class Monday, Tuesdays, I go right to the gym. I have my bag packed because if I come home and I sit, I'm done. Let's be honest. So I go to the gym, I watch Netflix, a show on Netflix, because there's no commercials in it. It's about 45 minutes. I'm walking on the treadmill at a decent pace. I'm not running, I'm not killing myself yet, I'm just walking. And that's more than I've done in the last 8 months. So just getting some energy out. I'm not listening to lecture when I'm doing it. I'm watching, my daughter told me to start watching Scandal on Netflix. So if you've never watched Scandal, it's a really good show. So yeah, so 45 minutes. I'm walking on the treadmill and I'm exercising, but I'm watching a show, and time really flies. And oh, a lot of you asked. I did go to their graduation. I did go. I was not going to go, because my husband brought up a really good valid point of they wanted me there. But if they see me, then they can't feel they can be as happy because they're going to feel guilty that that I'm back there upset and they're up there, you know, trying to be happy and graduate. And so I wasn't going to go. And Bradley and Kelsey asked me if I was going, and for that reason I said no, I wasn't going. And I explained why, and I could see on their faces they still didn't like it, but they understood it. And so it was like a week later, and I was like, you know what, Robin, and so many of you encouraged me to go, you know, so I really took what you said to heart and thought about it. And I'm like, Robin, it's not about you. It's about supporting them like you've always done. So I went. It was really hard. And in the beginning, or, you know, before the ceremony, they play, you know, this slideshow, picture show. And I was in a lot of the pictures. I'm like, oh my gosh, kill me. So anyway, I wanted to slide. Now, I've worked every pinning ceremony since I was in prereqs, just to keep me motivated, and I just loved the whole ceremony itself. And so I knew when they were going to be in the back lined up, back behind the wall lined up, and how they were going to march in. So I was going to sneak in and sneak out, okay? I snuck in. And then I had a few instructors come up to me and hug me and talk to me, and that was touching. Yet I started crying. I just couldn't handle it. I was still raw. I mean, it was just a week after finding out I wasn't graduating. And then one of my classmates saw me, and she ran up to me and she's like, Robin, you are here. And I said, yes, I'm here. Just shh, you know, whatever. And I said, you're late, go line up, because I didn't really want to talk, because I just didn't want to start crying. Next thing I know, all my classmates come from behind the wall, and they find me, and they're hugging me, and oh, touching, hard, touching. But I am so glad I went, because I'm so very proud of them. Anyway, yeah, so then, yeah, then the holidays happened and all that. So I did go to their graduation, and I'm very glad I did. And they all said they're coming to mine in May. Even though I'm done in March, once I pass, I have to wait till the second 8 weeks till the rest of the class is done doing their mental health and their PEDS second level. And then we'll have our pinning ceremony in May. Whoop. Okay, so basically I'm in the fight for my life right now. The teacher is extremely good and smart, but fast. And the bar is super high. And that is so that we can be the best nurse we can be, to become the nurse that we would want for our families. And so I just have to get this testing thing down. That's pretty much where the biggest part of me is broken. And I really have to, you know, the last 2 columns on my list, I really have to get comfortable with those things, as well as keep up with the parts that I'm decent and good at. So I'm tutoring with my teacher once a week. I'm going to be getting together with some classmates once a week. either before or after we meet with her. I don't know how we're fine-tuning this out yet. That's the plan. So my next exam is going to be GI, GU, shock, burns, GI, it's 5 things. GI, GU, burns, shock, kidneys. That's a lot. Kidneys by themselves with shock can be by themselves. Yeah. And then another exam is going to be like neuro and stuff like that. Okay, so we had cardiac. This one is all those. And then we're going to have like neuro and respiratory and traumas in there somewhere. And yeah. So continue to keep me in your prayers. And as far as I'm studying, I'm taking my old notes because I still took really great notes from that teacher, that PowerPoint. I'm recording this lecture with this instructor. I'm adding to what I already have. And I'm doing a ton of NCLEX style questions out of my books and online. And I am reading the rationales because that will explain to you what the question is really looking for. I'm practicing on finding those keywords, finding out what's important, what's not. You can study all day long, but if you're bad at taking an exam, you just have to keep you just have to keep doing the hard part over and over to where it gets easier and easier and easier. And you have to build up your tolerance to taking test questions. My final was 100 questions. I got a little sleepy, I got a little tired. I was thinking a lot on some of the questions, and towards the end, I just was kind of like, you know, wow. And then with this instructor, so I'm doing that to build my tolerance, I'm doing that to improve on my test taking skills, and I'm doing it to get faster because she does time us. With this last exam, I heard 10 minutes, and we had 50 questions. I heard 10 minutes left, and I had like 7 questions to go. I still had 2 that I had circled prior that I needed to go back to. And her questions are no joke. It's 2 or 3 questions within one scenario, you know, so you have to really read carefully and figure out the maps and, you know, do all this stuff. So and then next thing I heard was 3 minutes, and it felt like 2 seconds had gone by. And so I still had 2 questions to go, plus to go back to the prior 2, so I did rush, and some of those I got wrong. So if I had a little more time, or if I was able to go a little faster, I would have had a great grade, seriously. And if I didn't make a couple more legit, just hard, but I learned from them, I really could have gotten a really great grade. So I'm going to take what I learned from that, and I'm going to move forward and apply it to this next one. So hopefully each one I can do better, but I have to stay focused the final 60%. So learn as much as I can, even if I don't do well on these. Of course, the better you do, the more cushion you have for the final. But if I don't try and fix what's broken in the meantime, when I get to the final, everything's still broken, and it's fend for yourself. So if I can get stronger and better with each one, then the final, I have all of these great strategies and better endurance and better at taking them faster, then I think I'll be okay. I know I'll be okay. I'm going to be okay. So, again, thank you so much for, I'm sorry this was a ramble video, wasn't scripted. I'm getting ready to go upstairs and cook. That's why hair's in a ponytail, because, you know, no one wants hair in the food. And, so yeah, that video is going to be up tomorrow or something, because it's a crockpot recipe meal, and I'm just going to kind of go through it, because that's what people are wanting to see as well. And, that's it. So, rate, comment, subscribe. Thank you again so much for your kind words. You guys are just beyond amazing, and you really helped me get through this. A lot of you guys gave me some food for thought and things to chew on, and just the love and encouragement. I had an ass or two also, but, you know, I put myself out there, so it is what it is. But, you know, the love versus the hate. Take the love any day. So, anyway, mwah! Love to you all. I hope you're doing awesome. Please let me know how you're doing. Stay tuned, and I'll talk to you next time.